Digital payments and e-commerce have been the name of the game during this pandemic, and we have one of the country's leading players, GCash, to talk to us about their experience so far. We have with us live on the stream newly minted President and CEO of GCash and Mint, Martha Sazon. Good morning, Martha, and welcome to the stream.
Good morning, Danny. I'm excited.
Thank you so much for being with us. Yeah, I'm very excited as well. I'm sure it's been such a ride. I mean, with all of the negativity going on, the one good thing that we've seen happening in this pandemic is the quick transition of consumers into a safer way of payment, a more a better way of payment, a more efficient way using digital platforms. Tell us, how big of an issue has this been for you? You were just minted at the helm on June. Were you prepared for this at all?
Well, it's been a crazy fun ride so far. I entered at a time when GCash was starting to peak. It continues to peak, actually. In this time of crisis, we're more relevant than ever, actually. So we are also in GCash trying to adjust and trying to be more flexible in things, because like millions and millions of subscribers are just keep on coming, right? So this is happening because as more and more people are shifting to online and digital, trying out the digital platforms for their safety. Actually, it all boils down to safety versus cash, which we don't want to transmit more virus, right? At the same time, because of the fact that we are not together, we have to be physically distant. It's a perfect tool, actually. E-wallets are a perfect tool like GCash to transact and to keep the economy going. That's why we're experiencing unprecedented growth. If I may just quote some of the stats that we have.
Yes, please.
App ranking wise, we're the #1 finance app in the Philippines. We're top 3 in free apps with TikTok and Zoom. We recently just overtaken Shopee in terms of downloads. So we're now one of the #1 app downloaded in the recent weeks. New registrations, our monthly average new registrations has grown 3.5 times versus pre-COVID. In terms of the use cases or the transactions that people are using within GCash, we've experienced up to 900% growth, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, with use cases like sending money, online payments, cash in from banks, which are essentially what you need when you need to transact and buy your essentials, right? But more importantly, we've also experienced that much growth in our savings. Imagine. So even in the financial services sector, we've been experiencing really good growth, which just goes to show that people are also concerned about keeping their financial health, right?
Yeah, just wanted to interject because you mentioned this 900% growth. That's very interesting. Where does this come from? Is it the existing GCash users using it more? Are there people that never had a GCash account or any sort of bank account starting to use digital platforms, or are people that were using traditional banking now completely changing and using GCash instead?
It's a combination of a lot of things. Like from the bank people and the underbanked people, they're now using more of the GCash. It has become their wallet. So our average transaction per day per person is actually 2. So imagine people are logging in, are using their GCash on the average day. Right? So it's like a wallet. It acts like a wallet. So it's more than just a bank, actually. Because in banks, you go there like once a month, once a week. But now, this one is being used as a wallet to facilitate daily transactions, which for us is very positive, because in this crisis, you need to keep the economy going, right? You need to keep consumption there, right? So that's one. And the other one is, so from existing subs, they're using it more often. And we're also getting in new subscribers, like millions. Month on month, we've been like trying to cope, right? Whether they were like dormant before, and they start using it again, or really entirely new subscribers. And I'll explain it later, how they got into GCash. But just to quote, last is unprecedented is the gross transaction value. We are tracking 1 trillion in gross transaction value within our system. So, and that is like more than twice or more than 3 times even of our combined gross transaction value in the past 2-3 years combined, right?
Wow, it's amazing. So safe to say that the targets have been thrown out of the window, new targets are in place. How has the pandemic changed the game? Because you're not the only one na lang in this space, diba? I mean, it used to be you and another player were really leading here. Now, the biggest banks, which were not necessarily focused on payments and wallet systems, they were doing other things, and they were focused on branch transactions. They're now starting to be your competitors as well. Is this a good thing for you? Are you able to handle that? And what's your plan to differentiate?
I think what we're reaping now is actually work from way back. For the past years, we've been building a really good product and a really good set of service, and it stands on a very stable platform. Thanks to our partners in Ant and in Alipay, right? Which actually their platform can handle billions and hundreds of millions of people, right? So our platform is as stable and as secure as that. Right. So we are in a position to really handle this surge in usage and in subscribers. The other thing is the features that we've been putting in, which is more than just payments and transfers. We have financial services. We even have G-Forest. That actually are beyond just being a wallet. It actually enriches your usual wallet concept. So it's not just a simple wallet. It's not just a simple bank, right? It's more than that, and it really it's a tool. It's a digital tool for a lot of people. And what's good about this is we are not necessarily competing with other banks or with other e-wallets. I mean, the more the merrier, right? Especially now that crisis is here. We actually have been working closely with banks. We have a tie-up with CIMB who's been powering our GSave account.
Okay.
With our partnership with them, we're able to offer best-in-class interest rates. Imagine you can get from 3 to 4%, up to 4% interest on a savings account. That's better than like a time deposit or even a treasury bond, right? And with no like 1 peso minimum deposit, you can set it up in as fast as 1 minute, and that's care of a bank. Really. The other one is we're also doing loans also with them, and also our integration with BPI and Union Bank has helped us in terms of has helped the subscribers in terms of cashing in. So it's now easy to transfer their money into ours so that they can do the daily wallet stuff, right? So
I'm actually interested, Martha, in what you mentioned that you're going into loans, because another thing that the pandemic needs is access to liquidity. Diba? The BSP has been very quick to reduce the interest rates, to also help with the triple R ratio cuts. Are you taking advantage of this and allowing especially people that have lost jobs right now that need a very quick cash just to get by? How are you using GCash for that?
So we have a G credit. We call it Pantawid. Kasi that's how we use it really. And it's also in partnership with CIMB. What's good with that is the interest rates are prorated per day. It's not your usual credit where you get charged like really exorbitant amount. But this one, it's lower, much lower than your usual loans or your usual credit rates. At the same time, it's prorated per day. So if you pay like if you really need a pantawid and you pay like in less than a week, it's so cheap, right? And what's good is that is backed by best-in-class credit scoring. So given the rich data that we have in GCash, we're able to score well and know who are the good players, who can actually afford to pay us back. That helps our consumers better because we don't want to give them more trouble, right? By unduly lending to people who cannot actually pay in the future. So that's backed by G-Score and backed by also a really reliable bank.
Okay, just for the surge in usage, do you see this as a temporary surge? I mean, it can't necessarily be sustainable naman, diba? Every time this type of transactions, or is how can you see, how do you foresee the future in terms of a sustainable adoption for this, especially as we try and go back to the new normal? Are you prepared that you might actually start using this again as cash starts becoming exchanged again, or are you really seeing a longer term pivot here, especially in the Philippines, which has been waiting naman talaga for this pivot for so long?
Yeah, if I base it on the experience in other countries, well, like in India, it took like the disenfranchising of cash for a while for them to adopt the e-wallet. In some countries, like probably Indonesia, it's the traffic and it's the use of motorcycles that allowed like Gojek to get in, right? Well, in the case of Philippines, unfortunately, it took COVID.
It's the pandemic, correct?
It's a pandemic, right? And I think digitalization is here to stay. Yes, there might be some who would go back, but in general and majority, we feel that it's here to stay because once they tried it, most of our users are actually happy using it. They find the convenience really very useful, and also the empowerment, the ability to actually take advantage of the features that they thought were just available to a few, right? So it's really the democratization of the services, like the financial services, whether it's savings, it's investments, it's insurance, it's credit, because we have this now. Last year, we were concentrating on payments, right? And payments and transfers. And in the recent past, we've launched actually new things, which are savings, credit, insurance, and even investment. We even have tingi insurance that allows people to, for as low as 39 pesos, you get term life and accidental benefit also, and as well as some subsidy for your hospitalization, which covers even COVID.
Okay, amazing. And finally, Martha, before we let you go, GCash has been, in my opinion, very focused on the consumer side, diba? So a lot of consumers adopting it, the shoppers. What are you doing on the enterprise side, and how are you, leveraging on the fact that you're in the Ayala group, like you mentioned, you have ties with Globe, you have ties with Ayala Health, for instance, right now. That's what we need. How are you helping the enterprises, the MSMEs? Thrive and also have a better way to conduct their businesses?
Okay, so let me just subdivide that into three. So one is the merchants, the MSMEs. The other one is, I'd like to talk about the government also. Okay. And the other one would be the enterprise. So first, for the merchants, we used to have like more than 75,000 merchants in our system. But with this pandemic, there are around like probably 100,000 even informal merchants that are in our system using the send money. So they've gone to our system so that they could accept and receive and pay whether they're vendors or their clients. So that's how we're helping them, and it's as easy as downloading the app, right? Okay. Secondly, for the government, so far we've distributed like 14 billion in ayuda to help the government. It started with Makatizen with their Makatulong program. We've helped them, and then Taguig, Quezon City soon followed, and now the SWD. So we've distributed around like 2 million people already just for that ayuda. That's how we're helping them. Not to mention the income tax collection that happened like in June. We were told like 70% of the government's collection actually was made possible by e-wallets, right? So that's how we're helping, right? And for the enterprise, it's really more around the disbursement of payroll, the payroll disbursement, the disbursement of salaries, and all these things. That's how we're helping them. And with Ayala and with and Globe, an example would be, the Globe rewards, the points. Now you can convert that to actually GCash.
Okay.
So it's currency.
Yeah.
Right. So and I heard it resulted to record-breaking conversion, and that's actually helpful for people. Imagine your points for your Globe services can now be converted to a currency that you can buy for anything you want, right? The other one would be the exclusive SKUs that we have with Globe, and it's done really well. They have this Go Extra 90, where if you purchase it with GCash, you get extra gig free. So that's value for money for you, right? So I mean, it's more than the rebates that they normally get. It's the extra gig which we all need at home. Yeah.
Excellent. So that sounds like a very good plan. And thank you so much for breathing in some positivity during this time. At least there's many things that are going on. I know it's going to be keeping you very busy. Thank you so much. That was, of course, Martha Sazon, CEO of GCash and Mint.
Thank you.